Before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because today we're bringing you a story that's far deeper than the Hollywood shine you remember. Dale Evans, the woman millions adored as the Queen of the West, lived a life wrapped in courage, heartbreak, and secrets she carried for decades. Behind the sparkle of rhinestones and cowboy hats was a journey marked by pain she almost never spoke of. Her love for Roy Rogers, her faith, her fame, none of it tells the full story. What she revealed near the end of her life shocked even her closest admirers. This is not the Dale Evans Hollywood wrote. This is the Dale Evans she finally allowed the world to see. Long before she became an icon, Dale Evans was simply Frances Octavia Smith, born on October 31, 1912 in Uvalde, Texas. Her childhood was rougher than most knew, defined by instability and emotional distance. She spent years living with relatives, including her uncle in Arkansas, learning early that survival required strength no child should need. At just 14, she ran away into marriage with Thomas F. Fox, hoping adulthood would offer safety. Instead, she became a mother at 15 and abandoned soon after. Her early life wasn't a fairy tale beginning. It was a storm she learned to walk through alone. Trying to support herself and her baby, Frances turned to the only skill she fully trusted: music. Memphis radio stations like WMC and WREC became her second home, even when doors slammed more often than they opened. Audiences heard a confident voice, but off-air she fought constant rejection and the heavy judgment placed on young, single mothers. Her marriage ended quickly, and the world showed her little kindness. Yet she refused to break. By reinventing herself, Frances slowly turned pain into the drive that would push her toward the spotlight. In 1929, she entered a second marriage, seeking the stability she had never known. But life had other plans. That relationship collapsed by 1935, leaving her with another broken chapter. During these years, her talent caught the attention of radio executives, one of whom suggested she drop her given name and choose something marketable. And just like that, Frances Octavia Smith disappeared, replaced by the crisp, memorable name, Dale Evans. The transformation wasn't just branding, it was survival. But along with her new identity came a new expectation: hide the past at all costs. Hollywood studios, eager to craft a wholesome star, forced Dale into one of the biggest lies of her life. They insisted she present her young son Tommy not as her child, but as her younger brother. The deception haunted her for years, stealing moments of motherhood she could never reclaim. Yet she kept singing, kept smiling, and kept playing the role of a rising Western sweetheart. The price of fame was steep, and Dale paid it quietly. Behind every glamorous photo was a woman holding back the truth, terrified it would end everything she had built. By the late 1930s, Dale was recognized for her warm voice and graceful presence. After divorcing her second husband, she married pianist Robert Dale Butts in 1937. Their partnership was strong professionally but weak emotionally, another mismatch she tried to endure. Meanwhile, her performances grew more polished, appearing in films and becoming a favorite on the Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy radio show. Hollywood shaped her into a cowgirl star, outfitted with boots, fringe, and sparkle, an image that audiences adored. But behind the showmanship, Dale continued fighting battles no camera ever captured. Everything changed in 1944 when Dale starred alongside Roy Rogers in The Cowboy and the Senorita. Their chemistry burst off the screen in ways neither expected. At the time, both were still married, but destiny had its own timeline. 2 years later, Roy became a widower when his wife Arlene died unexpectedly, leaving him with 3 children to care for. Dale understood pain better than most and became a steady presence in his grief. What began as friendship soon deepened into something life-altering for them both. Roy proposed in a moment straight out of a Western film, sitting atop trigger just before riding into a packed arena. On December 31, 1947, they married while filming in Oklahoma. It was Dale's 4th marriage and Roy's 3rd, but this time felt different. Their partnership blended family, career, and faith in ways Hollywood loved to showcase. Behind the scenes, they worked tirelessly to keep their new life steady. Dale finally acknowledged her son openly, ending years of silence. It was the beginning of a legendary duo, but not the end of their struggles. In 1950, Dale and Roy welcomed their daughter, Robin Elizabeth, a child whose short life would leave an unforgettable mark. Born with Down syndrome and severe health issues, Robin faced a world that often rejected children like her. Instead of hiding her, Dale and Roy embraced her with fierce devotion. But heartbreak struck again when Robin passed away before her second birthday. Dale was shattered. For months, she wrestled with grief that seemed too heavy to survive. Yet from that darkness came one of her most powerful creations. In 1953, Dale published Angel Unaware, a book told from Robin's heavenly perspective. Hollywood didn't expect it, but audiences embraced it like a lifeline. Parents who had suffered similar losses poured out their stories to Dale in letters that filled entire rooms. Her book changed perceptions about children with disabilities long before society was ready to listen. Charities and organizations began shifting their views. Dale realized she wasn't just a performer, she was becoming a voice for the unseen and unheard. But even as she helped heal others, she still carried her own scars. The 1950s solidified Roy and Dale as America's favorite cowboy couple. Their weekly show captured the hearts of families everywhere. Roy, always the hero, rode Trigger into action while Dale appeared on her buckskin mare Buttermilk. Songs like Happy Trails became part of American culture. But while millions saw harmony, life at home was far more complex. Their blended family grew with the adoption of several children. The Rogers household was full of laughter, chores, music, and faith, but also the constant weight of old sorrow lingering in the walls. Then came the tragedy that changed everything. In 1964, their adopted daughter Debbie died in a devastating bus accident while traveling to church. The loss was sudden and unimaginable. Dale later admitted she struggled to breathe under the weight of that grief. The family home in Chatsworth felt haunted with memories too painful to bear, pushing Roy and Dale to move to Apple Valley for a fresh start. But relocation couldn't erase the heartbreak. Dale's public speeches became more honest, sharper, filled with the understanding only suffering can teach. As the years passed, Dale grew even more outspoken about her faith and beliefs. She became a strong voice for traditional values, speaking at rallies and campaigning for causes she believed would uplift America's moral direction. She called for bringing prayer back into schools and urged people to reconnect with their spiritual roots. But this stronger public voice did not erase the quiet loneliness she sometimes felt at home. Roy's demanding schedule and strict parenting style created emotional distance Dale rarely discussed publicly, until later in life, when candor became her shield. Privately, marriage to Roy wasn't always the perfect partnership fans imagined. Dale later revealed she often felt isolated when Roy traveled for long periods. His strict approach to raising the children added tension she struggled to navigate. The weight of being America's ideal cowboy couple made honesty difficult. Their love was real, but so were the challenges. Dale's regrets lingered, especially the years she pretended her son was her brother. She admitted that this lie hurt more deeply than any Hollywood criticism. But through it all, she kept showing up, with music, with faith, and with truth when she finally felt ready. Writing became Dale's way of untangling the knots inside her heart. Over the decades, she published more than a dozen books that blended personal experiences with spiritual wisdom. Readers felt seen by her words, comforted by the vulnerability she offered. Dale never claimed perfection. She spoke openly about pain, doubt, and the courage it took to keep going. Her honesty made her a beacon to those in mourning. In interviews, she emphasized that true strength comes not from appearing flawless, but from embracing the full truth of one's life. Even as her books gained attention, Dale never abandoned her public persona. She continued to honor Roy, highlighting his virtues and the deep respect they shared. Their marriage wasn't a fairy tale. It was a journey marked by devotion, struggle, faith, and forgiveness. Dale believed sharing the hard parts made their love more meaningful, not less. By the 1970s and 80s, nostalgia shows invited the couple to relive their glory days. Fans adored them, unaware that behind the smiles were stories still too tender to reveal. In the 1990s, Dale launched her own religious television program, hoping to uplift viewers who felt lost. Her voice carried a gentle authority, shaped by decades of love and loss. But at home, Roy's health was declining. Dale stayed by his side through every difficult day, drawing on the resilience life had forced her to develop so young. Their final years together were quiet, filled with reflection, prayer, and the bittersweet comfort of a lifetime of memories. Roy passed away on July 6, 1998, ending a partnership that had defined American entertainment. Dale lost not just her husband, but her partner of more than half a century. For the first time in many years, she stood alone, no longer part of the legendary pair seen on screens across the world. Grief returned like an old wound. Yet Dale's children said she handled those years with grace, even as her body weakened. Without Roy, she became more introspective, more willing to share the truths she had shielded from fans for so long. In her final years, Dale opened up about the deeper struggles of her marriage and career. She spoke of the loneliness she had endured, the strictness Roy held onto, and the guilt she carried for years over hiding Tommy's identity. These revelations surprised many who believed their marriage had been flawless. But Dale wasn't tarnishing their legacy, she was completing it. She wanted the world to know that even beloved icons face heartbreak and regret. Her daughter Dodie later said, "Mom wasn't afraid of truth. She believed truth heals." Dale Evans passed away on February 7, 2001, at the age of 88. Her final days were peaceful, filled with moments of quiet acceptance. She expressed her readiness to reunite with Roy and the children she had lost. Her story, once polished into Hollywood perfection, finally stood whole, beautiful, painful, and profoundly human. Dale Evans will always be remembered as the Queen of the West, but the real woman behind the legend was far more powerful than the image on screen. What do you think? Should stars share their truths sooner, or only when the world is ready to listen? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of the legends you thought you knew.